Coming up next on the Filthy Rich Cleaners podcast.
If they cannot handle that little tiny surprise, and they really can't handle when something goes crazy in the field, which happens all the time, they need to be able to handle that calmly.
From your first dollar to your first million, welcome to the Filthy Rich Cleaners podcast, presented by ZenMaid. Join your host, Stephanie Pipkin, founder of Serene Clean, as she shares proven tips, tricks, and hard-earned lessons. Whether you're just starting out or ready to scale, get ready to discover how to build your own cleaning empire. Let's roll up our sleeves and dive in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Filthy Rich Cleaners podcast. I am your host, Stephanie from Serene Clean, and in today's video, I am going to be going step by step through one of the core reasons Serene Clean has been successful over the years. And it is something that we started about 5 years ago. I realized I had not made a video explaining this or talking about this fully since like 2021, I think. And I realized I was like, now I have, a little bit more of a platform and I have years of experience with this, not just the excitedness of it early on. I have years of data showcasing that this works. And what we are talking about today, guys, is the magic, the splendor of group interviews and how it is exactly what you need for your cleaning business in order to keep up with the absolute beast of hiring and turnover that we all deal with. This is the hardest part of our industry. I think we can all agree that staffing and turnover and just difficulties when it comes to personnel is going to be the biggest challenge we face, and it never goes away. Like literally never goes away. This morning, I had a brief manager meeting. It's Monday today. Monday. We had a team meeting and then I talked with my managers, and what are we talking about? Staffing issues, right? And people acting wild. Not going to go into details, but let's just say last Friday was an absolute shit show with people, and for a lot of crazy reasons. And it just highlighted the fact of like, thank goodness we are always hiring. We're always hiring. We are always doing group interviews every single solitary week for years. And in this video, I'm going to highlight why you should be doing group interviews, the pain that it's going to solve for you. And then I'm going to explain how to do it, as well as some possible workarounds if you think it's not going to work for you. And we'll go into that because again, we've been doing this for years and we have transitioned from in person to now Zoom. And I will go through both options for you so you understand how you can do this. And yeah, I am super excited about this topic. I really think it's going to help a ton of you. And you may be thinking, I'm too small to be doing that. No, you're exactly the person who should be doing group interviews because your time is so stretched thin because you are still cleaning and you do not have the time to be dealing with the nonsense of traditionally setting up individual interviews from the get-go and then they ghost you because you will experience this, or they walk in and within 2 minutes you're like, oh my gosh, no, this person is absolutely not like the right choice. And now you have set aside this time again. Remember that conversation we had a couple weeks ago about opportunity cost? Group interviews is one of the biggest game changers when it comes to opportunity cost. It is so valuable. Your time is precious. You do not have a lot of it. And for you, this could mean not cleaning, not bringing in revenue because you set aside a day to interview or a time slot to interview and then nobody shows up, or the people that do show up are low quality. And what I want you guys to think about when it comes to group interviews is a filtering process. Okay. It is not about setting aside and having the perfect interview. It is about seeing as many people as possible. You need to get in front of you as many people as possible with as little time and effort as possible. And there's multiple levels to protecting your time and energy resources when it comes to group interviews. And I'm going to explain it all. But I really just want to impart to you how valuable your time is, how valuable your energy is. And many of you have experienced the sensation of just wanting to throw your hands up because all of these people are saying they're going to show up to interviews. You schedule it all these times. It may be wildly inconvenient to you because it's the only time that they said that would work for them. And then they don't even show up. Like, that is so frustrating. And the biggest goal we want to have with group interviewing is filtering as many people as possible. Okay. So let's go in with that framework of this is for filtering. That's what we're trying to do. We want to see as many people as possible. And so let's back it up. And how do we make that happen? First and foremost, if you are waiting until you are feeling the pain of staffing, meaning maybe a big opportunity came your way, somebody quit, somebody got fired, some other fourth thing is happening to you, and you're like, oh shit, I need to hire like yesterday. It's too late. You are starting the game too late. You need to be proactive and create a hiring system, not reactive based on what is happening in your business today. Again, this is the issue you will always be facing. So that means if we have a pillar of the industry is a problem, that means we need to create a system to deal with this, because it ain't ever going away. This is something we will always be dealing with. And really, this is any industry, right? But especially in our industry, there's a pretty high turnover rate. There just is, for a variety of reasons. And obviously, we want to be the best company possible. In the beginning, it's hard, okay? In the beginning, it is very hard to offer anything that people actually want. And that's why I'm going to talk about what I'm going to talk about in what is actually included in the group interview. But I'm getting ahead of myself. So point being, we can't wait until we're feeling the pain to go put a job listing on Indeed, because now all of a sudden you're cleaning like a mad man, mad woman. And you really don't have time to be like texting people back and forth, trying to arrange interviews and meet up and all of this stuff, and like combing through resumes, all of these things. You don't have time for that. And so what we need to have going is job listings at every single moment. We never don't have job listings out. Now, for most of us, Indeed is going to be the best place to hire. Do I like Indeed? No, I don't. When Facebook took away Facebook jobs, I was so upset, because we actually got a lot of great applicants through Facebook jobs, because like a couple of years ago, I think they took that away in order to make more money off of us. Screw you, Mark Zuckerberg. So Indeed was where we all funneled to, and we were already on Indeed. But Indeed wants you to spend money. They want you to spend money on them, and they're going to push as hard as possible. We never spend money on Indeed, okay? We are a business of around 30-ish staff. Never, ever spend money on Indeed. There is a workaround, and that is just having multiple listings going. And basically after a couple weeks, or whenever you stop getting traction on that listing, meaning like lots of applicants, you pause it, you make a copy of it, and you post that copy as a new job. Because Indeed, if you've ever been on Indeed, it's like a list of jobs, right? And at the very top is going to be the sponsored jobs. That is always the case. It's okay. The goal is to be on like that first couple pages. And the only way to do that is to be either pay for it or to be a new job. And so if we're not going to pay for it, that leaves us with one other option, and that is to be a new job listing. So all you need to do is when you go to Indeed and click create a new job, you do your first listing initially. If you've never posted there before, like you do a job listing. And then when you go to make a new job again, instead of saying create from new, it will give you an option to say basically use an old listing as a template. That's what we want to do. And we just pause the old one and we post the new one. And that gets us pushed to the top of the rankings underneath the sponsored, of course. And that will get us more eyeballs on it. Because even if you are always hiring, which we all really are, we're always hiring. If your job listing is from 3 months ago, it is on like page 700. Okay. Like that's not going to show up. And it's also going to look like maybe it's old or they're not still hiring. You won't get as much traction or as many eyeballs on it. So that is lesson number one. Lesson number two, when it comes to job listings, is if you service multiple towns like we do, and I know a lot of you guys do, or multiple areas or suburbs, whatever, have a job listing in every single town for the same exact job posting. So for us, we have 3 locations. They're all within about, 45 minutes of each other. And so we have all of these towns that we are hiring in. So we have multiple job listings in each of those towns and from covering multiple types of shifts as well. Because think about it. What are people searching for? If you do commercial work, like make sure you have some type of evening position always going. If you do only residential, always daytime. Make sure that you have part-time jobs available as well. Like make sure it's very clear in your job listing that this is flexible work, because that's what it should be. And really, that's like the only thing you can offer in the beginning. So just highlighting this job will work for you. We will work around your schedule, whatever you're available for. And caveat, that doesn't mean that people can just like show up whenever they please. They get to say, hey, I can consistently work Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. And that's all you book them for. And then it works for them. I literally have cleaners who have been with me for years who have this type of arrangement, and just being really flexible. That's what made them stay, as well as, just being a kick-ass boss. That works too. But just in general, be flexible. Okay. That's one of the only things that you can offer in the beginning, especially. And, let's make this job work for people. And what I want to highlight too on job listings is this is marketing and this is sales. We have a couple audiences as cleaning business owners. We have our clients, we have our communities, and we have our employees and potential future employees. So if your job listing reads like, you must do this, blah, 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 and it's just super dry, like, I'm not going to click on that. It sounds very aggressive. Even there is a way to phrase things, and that's what ChatGPT is for, to make it sound like a place people would actually be interested in working. We need to sell this job listing, guys. We need to sell this job. And I'm not suggesting lying. I'm suggesting really playing up what is great about this job. Even in the beginning, like it's just, finding people who really love what they do. And once you watch the episodes that are going to drop with my staff members, I interviewed all of my managers and I interviewed some long-term cleaning staff as well. And you will see they all started when I had literally nothing to offer them except flexibility and good vibes. And you'll see, I really probe into that beginning time of why did you come here? And so those will be really interesting, I think, to you guys to hear, you can get absolutely bomb ass rock stars with basically nothing if you treat people well. So keep that in mind. You don't need to have a million benefits. I'm going to go into ours. Remember, I'm 6 years in, guys, and we are at a place where we can offer a lot of great benefits. So don't be comparing your year 1 to my year 6. And we are also in just different scenarios. Even if you're year 10, don't compare it to my year 6. Okay. So keep that in mind. All of these caveats to be said. I don't want what I'm describing as Serene Clean's workplace to make you feel bad, just to give you ideas of things that could be down the pipeline for you, which is really exciting. So what do we know about Indeed now? We want to have multiple listings going across all of the different towns that we serve. And then we want to, as listings get older, it could even be a week or two, we pause it, make a copy, repost that new one to avoid paying. Okay. Second part of the interview process that I want to talk about is going back and forth with applicants. Make sure that you have your Indeed notifications turned on so that it sends you an email every time somebody messages so you don't lose it. Do not, I repeat, do not be texting applicants from your private number. Okay. Bad idea. Bad idea. One, you are never going to have workplace or work-life balance, which that's really impossible in general, I think, in the beginning. But the point is, we do not want people texting our personal number as much as possible, especially strangers on Indeed. We do not want that. Okay. Get a Google Voice number if you must, so that you can have some privacy. And yet you just think about safety. Okay. We don't want our phone number going out to hundreds of people. And then if it goes badly, they're going to pester you and you got to block them. Just not a good look. Not a good look. It's not very professional either. So Google Voice is free. You can get a free Google Voice number to text from, or there's plenty of other apps that you can do that as well. So make sure you have the Indeed app on your phone so you can message right through that. Number 2, we want to create templatized responses, because much like every other area of our business, we are oftentimes doing the same things over and over, meaning communication wise, as well as just actual processes and like physical behavior. We're doing a lot of things over and over. But when you are texting the same things over and over and manually texting, you're wasting so much time. And Indeed has templated messages built right in, so you can create custom templates so that you can bulk send people the same thing, because the thing is with group interviews, that's exactly what we are doing. Okay. So you post a job, we get all these applicants. All right. Now's the time to figure out what time are you trying to offer the interview time. We want to be doing 1 or 2 a week. We have switched to offering a couple times a week to give people flexibility, especially a lot of people have other jobs. So we want to make sure we give flexible times. Previously, when we were doing all in person, I think we did it at Tuesdays at 4 o'clock or something like that, so that people could come in and do that. And just be firm on that. Don't make exceptions as much as possible. Give a couple times and try to corral people into those times. And so for us, what that message template looks like, I'm literally going to read it off to you guys. Okay. Before I say this, we don't like to read resumes. I don't find it useful, because for me, I don't even want to waste a second reading a resume of somebody who most likely what the skills I'm looking for are not going to be on that resume. All right. It's a personality. It's a traits thing. I do like to see obviously longevity in workplaces, but that doesn't even necessarily matter either. If they're job hopping a lot, okay, that's something to be concerned about for sure. But we don't care about any of that. Can they show up to an interview? That is what we are trying to figure out. And I don't want you to waste a second of your valuable, precious time as a cleaning business owner, especially in the beginning, on combing through resumes where people lie, put their best foot forward, and it doesn't even matter, because they could have the most beautiful, perfect AI generated resume in the world, and they still don't show up. They still ghost you, right? So who cares what their resume says? We're not looking at that until we get past them actually being able to show up. Then we'll give them some time, right? So don't read resumes. Every single person that applies, we send them this message. And again, caveat being, if we recognize that name and we're like, oh, that's a definite no, for whatever reason, your area, your community. If you know that, well, they like to, I don't know, murder puppies on the weekends or something, maybe not, not a good look. Don't interview them. Don't even invite them. So you can certainly make that decision and that call if you know that person. But in general, just everybody, same message. Okay. So this is what the message says. This is the templatized message that everybody gets. I'm going to read it out to you. Hello, applicant. I received your application and I am interested in setting up an interview with you. And it says their name, not applicant, but I'm not going to read this person's name. I have virtual interviews scheduled for this position on the following dates and times: Wednesday, May 28th at 1 p.m. or Thursday, May 29th at 11 a.m. The interview will take approximately 30 to 60 minutes. Please let me know if one of these options may work for you. If it does not, please let me know what your availability is for an interview. Please note there are no interviews times available for the week of May 19th through the 23rd. Additionally, responses to messages will be delayed as I'm out of the office starting May 15th through May 21st. I will respond as soon as I can upon return May 22nd. Crystal, my HR manager, had time off then, so this is how we handle that. And she says, thank you, Crystal Davidson, Director of Human Resources, Serene Clean, blah, 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 blah. So couple things. We're offering them 2 times. And if those times don't work, they need to offer us times, because what's really annoying is if you give them times and they say, no, those don't work for me. Well, what would? Because maybe you have a couple people who another time slot would work for them. Oh, I could do the afternoon of this day. And another person says that. Well, now all of a sudden we have another group interview, right? Or you just put it on hold until they can make it to the group interview. So that is what we send every single person. Obviously that is edited for Crystal's availability, but that'll give you an idea of what that looks like. They respond, they say, blah, 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 blah. Yes, I can make it, et cetera, et cetera. So that is what everything is going to look like when it comes to the message that we send everybody. They respond. And This is a big thing. We track on a spreadsheet who says they are going to come and show up, right? They have RSVP'd for whatever date at whatever time. And it is very important that we track if they no call, no show. This is super duper important because people will continually apply to your job. And if you can't remember, of course not, everybody who's applied and did not show up to your interviews, especially when you do it in this format. So we need to make sure that we're tracking somewhere that they did not show up. And actually, I'm going to give a little freebie for those of you that are watching this video. I am going to include in the description of this video, go click there. That is going to be a Google spreadsheet template of our interview tracking process. And you can see exactly how we do this. This is going to be really helpful for you. So thank you for watching the video. That is yours in the description. So send that. They say, yes, I'll be there, blah, blah, blah. We put them on the list. And then we go to the group interview. If you have not started heavily interviewing, you will be absolutely shell-shocked by how many people do not show. Like they could seem like this job is going to be their saving grace, right? And they still don't show up. So please do not be shocked and don't be discouraged by how many people no call, no show. I would say on average 3/4 of people no call, no show. I guess, is that what that's called? They just don't show, right? It's not like they actually work for us. 3/4 of people don't show up for interviews, in person, virtual, even. Like people won't even show up for a Zoom interview, okay? And this is why group interviews are so vital, because if 75% of people do not show up for it, how much time would you have wasted setting up individual interviews for them to not show up? You can't afford it. You can't afford it. Again, we have to see as many people as possible. That's why we have the multiple listings going. So if they're not going to show up, you are wasting so much time. We got to see people, right? So we set up the group interview. And if you're going to do this in person, what we would do is have a sign-in sheet wherever it is that you're doing the interview. It's just called group interview sign-in sheet, applicant details, and it has a slot for their name, their phone number, and their email. And then on the right-hand side is another column that just says admin notes. So as people come in, you have them sign in on the sheet, and we all just sit in a room and wait until the allotted time for the start date. So do wait. A lot of people like to show up early. Totally fine. They can sit and we'll just wait. If obviously we have an office. If you don't have an office, you can use a coffee shop. You can use a coffee shop. You can use libraries. You can use public spaces. You can rent out actually rooms in different places like community centers, etc. It is worth it just to have that space. So it absolutely can be done without an office. An office makes it a lot easier, but I know that that's not possible for a lot of you. Just don't do it at your house, guys. Do it in a public setting. And, a lot of people will be turned off by that, but it's what you got to do in the beginning. So it is what it is. If you were doing regular interviews, you'd have to meet somewhere, anywhere. So you're not getting around this. So come up with a solution and just kind of get over yourself of being like shy or self-conscious that you're doing this. Say, hey, we're a new company and, it's lean and I don't want to waste the overhead right now on an office. So this is what we're doing. And the goal is to grow rapidly, or whatever you need to say to make yourself feel comfortable with this. It's not a big deal. It's not as big deal as a big deal as you think it is. And you could also go the Zoom interview route if that really does make you uncomfortable. I would almost suggest that, again, even wasting less time. And then you can always do that second round of interviews, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. So you have them come in, they sign in. Okay, time starts. So for us, we go through the same thing every single time. And again, I would suggest you come up with a template for yourself. We now have this in actually a kind of Google Slides or PowerPoint presentation because we're doing it on Zoom. But for you, you can literally just have a sheet of paper that you've typed up what you want to cover. And just like the job listing, think of the group interview as an opportunity to sell yourself. We are trying to get people interested in the company while also clocking them. Okay. Ideally, you will have a second person in the room with you, whether that be a seasoned cleaner of yours, whether that be another manager, if you have an admin person. if it's possible, or your spouse, if you are a partner, if you have somebody available, and they can literally not be involved at all. They can just be like there and, working on their computer or whatever. But what they're really doing, well, they can actually be working. What they're really doing is scoping everybody out. Right? So that because you're focused on the interview, sometimes it's hard to just observe and see how people are behaving. As you've noticed, we do not tell people that this is a group interview. So how do they react to a surprise like that? Like, how do they react to that? Do they seem really, really pissy? Do they seem disgruntled? What is their behavior like? How do they dress? Are they rolling up in sweatpants and it looks like they took an egg beater to their hair? Like, what's the vibe? Because a lot of people don't take it seriously because it's a cleaning job. I want people who take this seriously. And I'm not saying they have to show up in like a suit and tie, but can you put real pants on? There's a question. Can you put real pants on? And so the other person is just getting a vibe overall. Again, nothing discriminatory at all. Of course not. You want a wide variety of people at your company. That's literally the best thing for you, because then blind spots and, the creativity of everybody is coming out. So it's a wonderful thing to have a wide variety of people. But the thing is, if they seem real pissy about the surprise of a group interview, they probably won't make a good cleaner, because cleaning technicians need to be able to roll with the punches, figuratively, not literally. And so if they cannot handle that little tiny surprise, and they really can't handle when something goes crazy in the field, which happens all the time, like an unusual situation, they need to be able to handle that calmly, right? So everybody gets in, you sit down, and we get started. So the first thing we go over is the history of the company, and you may not have any history. So I'll just go through this briefly. So I'll literally read it through for you guys. So opened in 2019 by our owner, Stephanie. We have 3 locations: Black River Falls, Sparta, and La Crosse. We do residential, commercial, and vacation rental cleaning, which are grandfathered in, as you guys know. We average around 25 to 30 employees, and we average around 170 to 180 appointments per week. We state that our service range is 30 miles from any of our offices. However, what we're looking at more so is drive time for our cleaning technicians. Anything over 1 hour is what we consider to be out of our service range. You can expect to travel up to 45 to 60 minutes one way per day. However, we do try to schedule logistically to minimize travel, but traveling is absolutely a part of the job. And so that's slide 1. We make that very clear in the listing on Indeed as well, that travel is an essential part of this job. And so I really want you guys to be as communicative as possible as to what this job is actually like. We're not trying to trick people in, because all that's going to do is hurt you. It's going to hurt you, because all of a sudden you're spending money on training somebody and time on training somebody who this does not work for them, because all of a sudden they get out of training. They're like, holy shit, like this is what it's really like. No, thank you. And now it's just not a good fit. So we want to, again, we're trying to filter. We are trying to scare away the people who do not fit with our company in a variety of ways, especially the expectations of the job. So make sure you are incredibly clear about what the expectations are, especially when it comes to driving vehicles, reimbursement for stuff like that. And we'll get into that a little bit more. But I want you guys to be really clear. And for us, our techs, again, they're not like, you can expect to travel up to that per day. The goal is not to have that, because that's costing us money, because that's valuable cleaning time. But sometimes it can happen. And so we don't want them ever to say, that's not my job, or I wasn't explained that. So being clear in the interview is excellent. You may think, oh, that'll scare people away. Well, this is what the real job is. So wouldn't you rather them not even be interested and not waste your time, or waste their time? We don't want to waste people's time. Okay, slide 2, core values. We go through our core values as a company. So as you guys know, family first, integrity, and a grateful and positive attitude each day. So I'll just read through what the description of those things are. So family first. Our mission is to bring families closer together. We do this by providing services that give our clients more freedom to spend more quality time with those closest to them. For our employees, we strive to do everything we can to make their work-life balance as good as it can be. Integrity. Doing the right thing each time, even if no one is going to find out about it. Always consciously making the right choice. Finally, a grateful and positive attitude. We are honored to be able to make our client and employees' lives better. We know that you certainly cannot always feel grateful and positive. You're going to have off days, but being able to smile and portray positivity, even if you aren't necessarily feeling that way that day, is important because we are in a service industry and those customers deserve to have a happy cleaner, even if you're not feeling it. So that's part of professionalism. That's part of being a grown-up, is being able to put on, the face when it's showtime. Sometimes I'm recording these podcasts and I'm like having the worst day ever, but this is showtime, guys. And you are not here for me to cry on the podcast. I mean, maybe that would kind of, be entertaining. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you want to see that, because I can certainly do that. There's some days that I'm like, holy crap. But the point is, there's always something to be grateful for. There's always a silver lining. Not always, but there's always something that we can find to help pull us through the day. And so we're trying to filter out people who do not feel that way. You'll see that in my interview with Ashley V, my cleaning tech, like she walked in and she saw the vinyl lettering on our office at that time. We're actually getting it put into our office now as well. And it says, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. And she walked in and she said, oh my gosh, like this is the place for me. I want to work here. And she like actively pursued us. We weren't going to give her a job because she was too overqualified, we felt. And now she is here, 4 years later or whatever. So what we believe as a company and you as an owner, we want that to just be so abundantly clear so that you attract people who, are going to be rowing the boat the same direction as you and who aren't trying to, literally punch holes in the wall of your boat. Okay. So that's why we talk about core values. Okay. The third slide is going to be the requirements. So smartphones are mandatory. We have 3 apps that we utilize for education, scheduling, and messaging. One of them being ZenMaid, obviously. As traveling is a part of the job, 1, you need a reliable vehicle to get you from A to B. 2, you need a valid driver's license and insurance on the vehicle to ensure you are legal while traveling. We do background checks on everyone. So many times we are alone in homes and businesses, and ensuring we are hiring trustworthy employees is really important to us. We talk about reliability, accountability, and teamwork being so important here. And that all employees must be available for at least 15 hours of work per week, although there may be specific positions that may be offered at less hours. That is something that we implemented a couple of years ago. I had employees who would work, 7 to 10 hours. So not saying that this rule needs to be for you guys. I'm just going over what rules we have now, because for us, 15 hours is pretty much the minimum. The next slide is going to be requirements continued. Dress code. All tops are provided by Serene Clean at no cost to you. You receive polos and a warmer zip up. Branded tops are not allowed. It is acceptable to layer a long sleeve shirt underneath your Serene Clean top. Any undershirts should be neutral, solid, unbranded, and must conform to acceptable colors. Bottoms must be knee length or longer and free from rips, holes, or written phrases. All bottoms must be neutral, solid, and must conform to acceptable colors. Shoes. Any closed-toed shoe that has a back and tread. Footwear must maintain a professional appearance and be free of rips or holes. Shoes that look like slippers, i.e. moccasins, are prohibited. Many residential cleaners have a pair of house shoes as well, but that is not required. And we just mean by that a separate pair of shoes that they only use for cleaning. And then we actually have the colors shown on the screen of what is acceptable and what colors are prohibited. We really have gone deep into like branding in this past year. And so people were just wearing wild colors that were not on brand for us. And so we want to be so explicit. And what this shows people is exactly what they're going to expect when working here. We don't want surprises is basically the point of the group interview. So we're selling them and we're also explaining exactly what they can expect to see. Is this a good fit for them? Because it needs to be a good fit for them. Supplies. We strive to be as all natural and environmentally friendly as possible. There are certain situations where we do use a heavier or more chemical-based product, but for the most part, it's more natural. We provide everything that you need, and we actually don't want you purchasing anything yourself. We are OSHA compliant, meaning that we have all the information on the products that we do use. We are always open to suggestions, but have to have management's approval prior to utilizing. Again, just trying to show them that we're a thoughtful company and safety is imperative and what is to be expected. expected because people might not know if they've never worked for a cleaning company before how any of this works. Now we go into benefits. So I'll read you guys our benefits. Maybe this will be of interest to you and give you some ideas. Again, like it's taken a while to get here. So insurance, medical insurance is provided through Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield. There's a 60-day waiting period for this benefit, and it's only available to full-time employees. We cover about 35% of the premium for individual insurance, and for any dependents, we help cover 10% of the premium cost for them. So again, if you have medical insurance, if you want to offer insurance, it doesn't have to be like all or nothing. It's just, can you have an option at least for them? Dental and vision insurance is provided through Beam, more commonly known as Beam Dental. There is a 60-day waiting period for this benefit and is also available only to full-time employees. Premiums for both of these are 100% the employee's responsibility. We have a 401k, which is available to all employees over the age of 18, no weekly hour requirements. There's a 90-day waiting period for this benefit. Serene Clean provides a 100% match on the first 2% that is deferred. Holiday pay. The applicable holidays are New Year's Day, Memorial Day, Independence Day, Labor Day, Thanksgiving Day, and Christmas Day. Anyone working 15 hours a week or under is not eligible. Anyone working 16 to 29 hours a week will receive 3 hours paid for that day. Anyone working 30 plus hours a week will receive 6 hours paid. If a holiday lands on a day that you are unavailable for work, you do not get paid. So for example, if you never work Mondays, then obviously you're not getting paid for, Memorial Day or Labor Day or any of those days that always fall on Mondays. So this is a perfect example of a tiered benefit system, which you will see we use in multiple different benefits. And as a reminder, it does, like, you can always start small. Like when we added this last year, and we're like, gosh, how do we handle this so that's affordable for us and that we can actually do it reasonably? Like, we're doing it tiered. We can always up later. You can start small, offer something. Next slide is going to be benefits continued. So we have paid time off. So for full-time employees, and we just go through like all of them from 6 months to 11 to 12 year work anniversary, which goes from 20 hours a year all the way up to 160 hours a year. And then for part-time employees at their 2-year work anniversary, they get 20 hours, and 4+ year work anniversaries, and they get 40 hours a year. PTO cannot be paid out until you have reached your 1-year work anniversary, and PTO can be carried over, but the max PTO you can keep in your bank at any given time is 160. And so we just felt that this was like a reasonable way to handle PTO. Again, there's so many ways to skin this cat, guys. I want to get your brain racking for how could you do something like this? I think so. PTO was actually the first benefit that we ever offered. And again, it was on the 1-year anniversary. And now we bumped it back to 6-month anniversary to be more enticing for full-timers. But this is a perfect example. And we didn't have PTO for part-timers until last year. So you ramp it up, right? You ramp it up. You don't just start with like this incredible benefits package. That's not how it is reasonable for a small business to do anything. We just slowly allow it. And again, PTO, like that's a great one to offer because really if they are hitting a year, like you've gotten a ton of ROI on that person, as well as it's a great reward for them. I mean, like you want them to be able to take time off and not have a hit to their income. And you most likely can afford it once, they're at that level, or you should be able to afford it. Another thing of benefits, again, we got lots of benefits now. Bereavement policy, employees are entitled to 2 consecutive days of bereavement leave in the event of the death of an immediate family member. The amount of paid bereavement leave will depend on the amount of hours the employee is available to work per week as indicated below. Another tiered benefit system. Anyone working 15 hours a week or under will receive 10 hours paid over the 2 days. 16 to 22 hours a week will receive 12 hours. 23 to 29 hours a week will receive 14 hours, and 30 plus hours a week will receive 16 hours paid over the 2 days. We also have a car care benefit. So funds reimbursed to employees for parts, maintenance, repairs, or labor for your vehicle. It cannot be used for fuel or gas. Employees must pay up front, submit receipts, and then the employee will be reimbursed through their paycheck up to the amount the employee is eligible for. Benefit is available each calendar year, January 1st through December 31st. So that is again, tiered again. You'll see this a lot. 15 hours a week or under is eligible to receive up to $50 per calendar year. 16 to 29 hours is going to get up to $100 per calendar year. And then anyone working 30 plus hours, which is what we consider full-time, is eligible to receive up to $200 per calendar year in reimbursements. The Employee Assistance Program, Employee Resource Center. This is access to trained professionals 24/7, 365, available to all employees, their dependents, and immediate household at no cost to them, no ties to insurance. Options for telephone, video, video or face-to-face counseling to help manage mental health concerns such as anxiety, depression, marital or relationship concerns, grief, job stress, trauma, situational stress, drug and alcohol dependencies, anger, and much more. So this is called EAP, and shockingly, it is so much more affordable than you would ever know. We added this last year, and I'm so glad we did. It is heavily utilized by our staff, and it really has helped a lot of our staff as well as their family members when they're going through different periods of life and challenges. So that's a really great one that you could definitely look into as well. Again, it's a lot more affordable than you would think. I think we pay it's definitely less than like $500 a month for all of our staff and all of their family for unlimited therapy. I mean, like that's pretty crazy, right? So it is really, really amazing. That might be one you could look into. Benefits continued. Okay, then we have this really fun one you guys could do. We have something called Spin the Wheel, and we got this wheel off of Amazon that you can dry erase, write all of the different prizes in. And this is an incentivized behavior benefit. So it is calculated quarterly, and the qualifiers are the following. No complaints in that quarter, no absences or tardinesses. I can't speak. No absences or tardiness. One successful quality check and one successful compliance check, which is where we check their supplies and their uniform. 10 written reviews or 2 video reviews, again, based on that quarter of behavior. And these are the following prizes: 2 hours of PTO, 3 hours of PTO, a $25 quick trip gift certificate, $25 cash, $50 cash, $75 Walmart gift certificate, or $100 cash. And the employees really love this one. Again, you can completely customize to what is affordable to you. For us, if they're doing those behaviors, that's a well worth it bonus, right? So again, a little perks that we can really start to do. So these are things, guys, I'm the reason I'm taking the time to read all of this. I know that this has nothing to do with group interviews, but I think it's valuable to show you that there are creative ways that you can make yourself a more enticing employer that doesn't have to break the bank, or it can be scalable depending where you're at. I know in the beginning, it's like, there's no money. I'm not paying myself hardly anything, but just I'm trying to give you some ideas. Okay. Then we get into pay. So everyone starts at $16 with the potential of getting to $17.25 within the first month. Overall, we do have a set pay raise schedule that provides the potential for a 60-day raise, 90-day raise, and yearly raises, which coincide with your work anniversary and performance evaluations. The amount you receive is based on performance and attendance. Top pay for our cleaning technicians is $25. Travel time. Employees are compensated at $12 per hour while traveling to, from, and between jobs. Gas stipends. Employees are compensated for their mileage in tiers. Gas stipends are calculated each day by how many miles you drive. This is to help offset the cost of gas you are putting into your vehicle and then the wear and tear on your vehicle as well. Mileage per day and stipend amount is as follows. 0 to 10 miles is $5. 11 to 20 miles is $10. 21 to 35 miles is $15. 36 to 50 miles is $20, and 51 plus miles is $25 in a day. Again, why we do not want people driving very far is we are paying them for their time, and we're giving them a gas stipend, right? So it's very expensive to have employees traveling like that. We do charge travel fees on top of our normal cleaning charges, because anything outside of 10 miles, it's really costing us. So that's how we handle that additional expense. But either way, we want people cleaning as much as possible, traveling as little as possible. Travel time and gas stipends will be calculated from the employee's home office, which is the office that is located closest to the employee's home address, to the job site, between job sites, and back to the employee's home office at the end of the day. The employee's commute from their home to their home office is not compensated and is considered their normal commute. So I know that there's a lot of questions on how to pay people for drive time. This is how we have figured it to be the most reasonable for our business, being that we have offices. If you don't have offices, you will have to come up with another solution. But yes, from their house to the office, hypothetically, is their commute, right? But we can't say in our business that the drive time from their house to the first job is a commute, because it varies every day, right? It's not like just an office. Like, we don't just, our staff are not just working in one location for 99% of us, right? So it's not fair to say, well, that's just your commute. Like, at least in my opinion, that is not fair. And you have to be really careful with the legality of paying for their time with anything, when it's anything to do with, work or whatever, you have to pay them. And so this is how we've handled it, so that it's just across the board, very straightforward. Yes, this is a screwdriver in my hand. It was on my desk. Okay, I have to have something in my hand. Otherwise, I don't know if you guys have noticed, I'll sometimes have a pen and just have like pen marks all over my hand because I'm like fidgeting. Anyway, so that's how we handle travel time. So we calculate all travel time and gas stipends, opportunities for tips, primarily in residential settings, and then payday is every Friday via direct deposit. So the goal is to answer every possible conceivable question. We want them to understand what they are getting into. We're not trying to pull the wool over on anybody's eyes. So we're, talking about just everything we possibly can. Okay. Then we get into our questions for applicants, which are going to be based on everything else on that group interview sign-in sheet. So the admin notes, so that's going to be things like availability, like what time of day and what days of the week, as well as total number of hours that they want to work in that week. So that gives us a perfect idea of like, what can we expect from their availability, and seeing if it's a good fit for you and what you're looking for right now. Then we open it up to questions, Q&A, and we just say, what other questions do you have? And we just answer them in front of the entire group. Finally, this is our last of the group interview. So as you've seen, we haven't asked any normal interview questions, have we? Because that's not the point of the group interview. This is the last part of the interview. If you are interested in pursuing employment, send over 2 to 3 professional references, which can be sent through Indeed Messenger, the same way we set up this interview. You can use personal references if you do not have 2 to 3 professionals, but we don't take those as seriously. If no references are received, we presume you are no longer interested in the position and will not move forward. Any questions can go to Indeed Messenger as well. We will respond as soon as we can. If you are looking for an update on where we are in the hiring process, please just reach out through Indeed and we will let you know where things are at. If you sent your references over and we are interested in pursuing you, I will reach out to you to schedule a second interview, which is a one-on-one interview, and will include more traditional interview questions that will allow me to learn more about you in general. It will be completed virtually and take 30 to 60 minutes. Boom. That's the group interview, guys. And as you saw in that last slide, this is where the second layer of filtering happens. They showed up. They did not make a fool of themselves, because we can definitely get a vibe. Honestly, up until recently, we have just been making decisions off the group interview. We've added that second round of interviews more recently just to get a little bit more time with the applicant prior and getting into more nitty gritty. But a lot of times we've made really good decisions just based off of that group interview. So it is possible. I would recommend a second round of interviews so that you can get to know the person and have that more traditional interview. But by now, you've already filtered 2 things. They showed up when they said they could on time, and they followed direction. They sent you 2 to 3 professional references over Indeed Messenger. That's a test, guys, because if they can't follow a simple direction like that, you think they're going to be able to do this job? No, absolutely not. All right. People think that cleaners are stupid. Hell no. Hell no. As we all know, this job takes a certain level of intelligence and skill in order to be competent and really a master of your craft in this, right? They need to be able to follow directions. So that is the second test after being able to show up. And then we're going to reach out to those contacts, those references, and see what they say. And again, people are going to put, their best friends as references or whatever. You're not going to give a bad reference, but it does give us some insight. Sometimes we've gotten some really good insight, or it's made us lean towards one candidate over another. So again, you may not have a position right now. And I know what one of the feedback will be like, well, that's not really fair to them if I have no open position. You could have an open position tomorrow. You don't know. You don't know. So again, coming back to the very start of this conversation, you have no idea when you need to hire. So if you wait until you are feeling the pain, it's too late. Okay. And so if you are not, actively hiring somebody right now, meaning you need somebody to start within the next week, then we just, communicate. We just keep in contact with the people that we're interested in, and we'll just let them know. We'll be like, listen, we don't have any open positions, but we really are interested in you. Is it all right if we keep in contact and reach out when we do have a position opening up? And you will be shocked by how many people, a lot of times they're at a job that they just don't like, and they will willingly wait for you if they want to get in with you. And again, a lot of times it's like, we are very much reacting like because of something that happened in the business. It's not like this perfect, like right now we're in this weird space where we have like somebody training for like every 2 weeks, and like it's just this very structured thing. But I know for a fact right now we have somebody who I very much think is going to quit or is about to put their 2 weeks in. And so like a lot of times you do not have the luxury of knowing that in our industry. A lot of times people out of the blue quit. A lot of times dumb things happen and you have to fire very quickly. Or sometimes, opportunities come your way. You get a big commercial account, or you get, several, like you get a residential rush, and all of a sudden you have a bunch of houses or what have you. Like it is just so, like, this is so valuable. And honestly, I look back at the big growth spurts that Serene Clean has had, and how was I able to keep up? Because I remember sometime one person asked me, they're like, can you explain like how this happened? Like, how did you keep going like this? And it's like, well, when I think about it, it's like, because we had enough applicants. Like I was just always interviewing. And so as I mentioned, we now do this completely over Zoom because our service range is so much larger. It does not feel right to me to ask somebody who lives 45 minutes away to drive somewhere for a group interview, or really just an interview in general, when we can just totally do that over Zoom. At first I was actually pretty against that. I was like, no, we need to see them in person. We need to get a vibe. But you'd be surprised by like how well you can pick up on people on Zoom. And also if they can't figure out Zoom, also not going to be a good fit for us, because it's not just, first of all, Zoom's really easy to use. Secondly, like, can they not Google and solve a problem? Shows you their problem solving skills. I will say in person is great, especially like if people are really struggling to find your office and you have like given clear instructions, probably not going to be a good fit. That's another good filter for you, because if they cannot find a clearly labeled place that's like in a town or something like that, you think they're going to be able to find houses easily, or, or do they communicate if they're running late? So that is helpful as well, because I'll give somebody a chance if they're like, hey, I'm running 10 minutes late, ran into traffic, whatever happened. Okay, you're still allowed, but you mosey in 10 minutes past the start date and just like expect us to interview? No, that's immediate grounds, like not going to work out, right? You can't be late. So all of these things help you filter people very quickly, and it starts to hone your muscle of hiring. And the biggest thing is not wasting time, not wasting energy, having everything templatized as much as possible. As you saw, like we are ready to do interviews at any moment because we have this laid out, right? And then just putting all of our notes in that spreadsheet. So after we have the Zoom interview, number one, we have the Zoom like meeting things turned on. So it records the meeting, the interview, and then it sends you like notes, basically a summary of the interview, which is super useful. And then we go back to that spreadsheet, which again, check the description, guys. You'll have that template. Just go open that up, go to the left-hand corner and click on file and say, make a copy. And then you'll be able to edit your copy. All right. So I don't want to be getting any messages saying, how do I can't edit it. That's how you do it. Okay. And then I want you to be adding notes on all the people, because you need, like, again, 3 months from now, the perfect opportunity might open up for a person you really liked, but they only had very specific availability. And you're like, yes, I got this commercial account. This is going to be great for them. But you can't even remember their availability. But this spreadsheet is going to help keep track of it. And I know you might be being like, oh my gosh, a spreadsheet. Like, this is business, guys. You need to have tracking systems in place. And this is just one of many ways that we keep our shit straight, is by tracking all the applicants. And again, who did not show up when they said they did. Because if they do that and then 3 months later they apply again to your job, and then we want to not even be sending them the invite, right? Because they no showed us. We don't want to give them an opportunity, because that shows that they're unreliable, especially if they did not communicate like why they couldn't show. Because again, that changes things. We need that context. And then you can add your notes of what you thought of the person and whatnot. So this is going to give you such power. I do not want you, basically being held hostage in your business by staff members. I want you to be able to make decisions that you need to make for the betterment of your business. And sometimes that means getting rid of somebody, right? And A lot of you have held on to people far too long, including myself, because you felt you had no options. You're like, well, what am I going to do? I have to keep them, even though they're completely destroying my business from the inside. I have to keep them. This is going to give you your power back. Okay. Please give this a go, guys. Leave in the comments if you have any questions that I didn't give enough clarity on, and I would be happy to help. This is going to be a game changer for you. All right. This is one of the top 3 reasons Serene Clean is where it is today, is this thing. And I'm not exaggerating at all. So get group interviewing in place. And I think you're going to see just such an overwhelming amount of productivity and stress relief, and just not dealing with so much nonsense when it comes to the interviewing process. So I'm really excited for you guys. I know that this is like an almost hour-long video, but it was really important to me to go through everything, give you guys, an overview of our benefits and exactly what we say in the interviews. And we're trying to sell ourselves in that first one and get an understanding of what that person's availability is like. And then in that second interview, you can do a more traditional one where you sit down, get to know the person, and ask things that are specific to what you care about in your business. We're really looking at things like the traits that we want to learn about, like personal traits, emotional stability, reliability, the physicality of the job. These are questions that we have asked ChatGPT to help us form, because those are some of the biggest issues that we have, is highly emotionally unstable, unreliable, and unable to do the work kind of people. So we now ask questions in the second interview about those things and just get a feel for them. So I hope this was helpful, guys. I am thirsty. I need to drink some water. I've been talking your ear off. And give me a like, hit that subscribe, go join the Facebook ZenMaid Mastermind group. You will love it. And I'll see you on the next episode of Filthy Rich Cleaners. Bye, guys.